kind. The first kind that we're going to look at here is when the light is on the ground. Okay? So if there's a light on the ground way back here, we'll say this is the light. Cool. And there for some reason is a man standing here. He's a stick figure. Okay, from the side. And he is 6 feet tall. Okay, his height is not changing, so I'm going to write 6 feet next to that. He's 6 feet tall. Okay? That's just, I'm simplifying it here, okay? All right. Now you can imagine, look, the light is shining light onto this guy, right? It's shining light. There's the ground. Boom. And as it shines light on him, there's a wall that's 40 feet from the light over here. The wall is very, very tall, right? There's the wall, okay? And as he runs towards the wall, for whatever reason he's doing it, you can imagine that his shadow will be on this wall, right? There's a bright light behind him. It's very dark out. His shadow will be on the wall. He's probably dancing, doing cool little shadow puppets. I don't know, okay? But there you go. As he moves closer to the wall, what should happen to his shadow? It should get smaller. It should decrease because he's blocking less light. All right? So, and that's all that's happening. As he moves towards the wall, his shadow is changing, and his question's asking, how fast is his shadow decreasing? Because he's moving towards the wall. Yeah. Okay? But yeah. So, let's label everything we know here. We know that a shadow, which is this length over here, so look, for simplicity's sake, let's just remember that this is the triangle over here. This is H right here. I'm going to call it H for a shadow. Okay? I don't like doing S's. I don't know. Okay, but that's just the height of that little triangle. And then we also have two lengths along the ground. Okay, but what do we know about the total length here?
It equals 40.
That's 40 feet. So if we call this side here X, then we don't need to call the other side Y. That doesn't make any sense. We're going to call it 40 minus X. Because that's what the other side has to be. And what we need really out of this is we need an equation. Because what do we know the rate of change of right now? What's 4 feet per second? In symbols. It's how fast it's moving. But in symbols and variables, what's 4 feet going to be? 4 feet per second. Is dx over dt. Okay? Now, is x getting bigger or smaller? It's getting bigger because he's moving away from the light. He's moving towards the wall. So we know that dx dt, I'm just going to write that right here, is 4. And again, this is the key thing for y'all to do here. Write down the rates of change of the variables that you know here. We know that. And they're asking us how fast his height is changing. Well, that's going to be dh dt. He is always 6 feet. It's true. We're looking for dh dt. That's what we want to know. So all we need now is an equation that links x to h, and we're going to derive it. Okay? So, because both of these triangles are right triangles, as you can see, and they both share this angle down here, then they have the special property. They are similar. They're similar triangles. And everybody knows similar triangles have proportional sides. Okay? So what, David, what equation can I get out of this? What ratios can I set up for these sides?
Well, X is
Be quiet. X over 6.
H over 6. That's X over 6 worth 2.
Oh, so you want to say h over 6.
I mean, it doesn't really matter.
It doesn't, but we can do whatever. Okay, well, let's do x over 6 then. So if we do x over 6, then we have to do what over what? We have to do 40 over h. So look, common mistake is for students to use 40 minus x over h. Don't use 40. You have to use the whole side of the triangle. Okay? Now that we have this equation linking x and h, we can derive it. We're going to get a dxt, we're going to get a dh dt, but we can solve it. When I derive x over 6, you don't need to do the quotient rule. Okay? Because that's the same thing as 1/6 times x. So when you derive it, we're just going to get... I don't know. This pen is acting up on me here. It's really frustrating. It is 1/6 dx dt. X goes away completely. When we derive the other side, keeping in mind that 40 over h is the same exact thing as 40h to the negative 1, when we derive that, we're going to get negative 40h to the negative 2, which is going to put h squared in our denominator. then we're going to multiply that by dHdt. Okay? And now all I got to do is, we want dHdt, we know dx dt, the only thing we're missing is h. So to find out what h is, we come back up here to this equation, and we know that x, does it tell us here? It says he's 30 feet from the building. So x has to be what?
30.
X is in 30, that's a trick.
10.
X is 10.
Oh.
X has to be 10 here, because he's 30 feet from the building. Okay? So if x is 10, let's write this over here. If x is 10, you have 10 over 6 is 40 over h. If x is 10, then h has to be 24. Okay? It is raining, it's true. And the units on that are still feet, because x was all measured in feet. So everything was measured in feet so far. So we're going to plug this in here, and we're going to get 1/6 dx dt, which was 4, equals negative 40 over h squared, so that's 24 times 24.
576.
Now, it is 576, but I'm not even going to multiply it out because, again, we said, like, most likely, come on now. Most likely you're not going to have a calculator on a test or anything like that. So I'm going to write it out as 24 times 24. And we're just going to simplify it down. Okay? Because what goes into 40 and 24? 4. Well, 8 also goes in, right? So we can cross out one of these 24s and make it a 3. And we can cross out this 40 and make it, not an 8, make it a 5. So now we don't have to do 24 times 24. We can do 3 times 24. Okay, and that's only 72. So really what we got over here is negative 5 over 72 dHdt equals 4 over 6, which is 2/3. Okay, so we're going to multiply by 72 and divide by negative 5. So we're going to get 2/3 times negative 72 over 5. And that's what dHdt is going to be. And that's going to be in feet per second. We just got to simplify it down. 72 divided by 3 is 24. Okay? And 2 times 24 is 48. So it's negative 48 over 5. And again, that's feet per second. Keep track of your units there.